Hello, this is a video where I will be talking about Sonnet 106, which is CVI in Roman numerals. If you've already seen my first video about what makes a sonnet and what a sonnet is, this is the second video. If you haven't seen that video, this is still the second video, but you don't necessarily need to watch that video in order to watch me pick apart this sonnet, although I am going to refer to some things that I described in that first video. The link to that video is in the description. First of all, in that last video, I talked about form, the form of a sonnet. So we're going to look at Sonnet 106 in terms of form first. Now, the first thing we'll look at is the iambic pentameter. Okay, we'll see if it feels good reading it in iambic pentameter, which is a 1, a 2, a 3, a 4, a 5, right? When in the chronicle of wasted time, now I should have underlined the CLE here of col, right, but I didn't. When in the chronicle of wasted time, I see descriptions of the fairest wights, and beauty making beautiful old rhyme, in praise of ladies dead and lovely knights, then in the blazon of sweet beauty's best, of hand, of foot, of lip, of eye, of brow, I see their antique pen would have expressed, even such a beauty as you master now. A little weird on line 8. Even such a beauty as you master now. That's wrong. So all their praises are but prophecies of this our time, all you prefiguring. And for they looked but with divining eyes, they had not skill enough your worth to sing. For we, which now behold these present days, have eyes to wonder, but lack tongues to praise. Now, I'm glad I didn't underline the CLE of chronicle in that first line, because that's not how I would ever say chronicle. I would never say chronicle, right? And so this is already an example where Shakespeare's iambic pentameter is definitely pentameter in a way, or it's definitely 10 syllables. I mean, not in everyone, not in line 8, but sometimes the iambs get a little muddied because not everything can be perfect, not even Shakespeare. Okay, when in the chronicle of wasted time, right? Now, if I were just speaking, I would emphasize things quite differently. I would say, when in the chronicle of wasted time, right? I would almost emphasize when. Right? When in the chronicle. So you'll see that it's imperfect in a way, at least in the iambic pentameter sense, as far as the perfect rhythm where you would naturally in normal speech want to emphasize things in iambs. Some of his lines just feel so naturally iambic and it's just so easy to read. This one is a little imperfect, but it's fine. It still rolls just fine. Let's look at the rhyme scheme. Okay, I've talked about that in my other video as well. When in the chronicle of wasted time is A. Wights does not rhyme with time, so we're going to call it B. Rhyme does rhyme with time, so we're going to put them together as A. And then we have knights, which rhymes with whites, so those will be B. Of course, best doesn't rhyme with any of it, so we're just going to go to the next letter, C. And we track it all the way down. We got C, D, C, D, E, F, E, F, G, G. Now, one weird thing is prophecies rhyming with eyes. I mean, if you said prophesize, but it's not prophesize, it's prophecies. But they both end in the Z, right, the voiced S sound. So we'll count it. We'll take it. It's close enough. Form looks good. Content, let's look at it one quatrain at a time. Okay. First quatrain begins with the word when. So this is setting the scene. This is the exposition. When this happens. When in the chronicle of wasted time, right? So he's looking through all of time, and he says that it's wasted, so he's already suggesting some kind of conflict, it seems. When in the chronicle of wasted time, I see descriptions of the fairest wights. Now, one reading trick is if you don't know a word, see if you can just skip over it without knowing what it means. You can kind of figure out what whites means, but you can understand the sonnet without knowing exactly what whites is, right? I see descriptions of the fairest wights. We're just going to say that whites means people, okay? The descriptions of the fairest people, the most beautiful people. Remember, fair means beauty to Shakespeare. And beauty, making beautiful old rhyme, right? Is it making the old rhymes beautiful, or is it making old rhymes that are beautiful? I don't know. This is part of the puzzle here, but either way, I can see it going either way. Line 4, in praise of ladies dead and lovely knights. Okay, so what he's saying is, when I look back at all the things that have been written, all the praise, all the songs, all the, worship of these beautiful people, ladies, knights, all these people throughout time, When that happens, what, Shakespeare? Okay, that's the questions. But we've got the exposition here. This is what's happening. He's looking at poems and songs and things in praise of the beauty of people of long ago. And we'll keep in mind, he calls it wasted time. Okay? Then, now the beginning of the second quatrain, beginning with then, if we're not keeping track of lines and quatrains and rhyme schemes, that should signal to us, oh, when this happens, then that. Okay, that should automatically signal that now he's kind of moving on. It's like a mini volta, right? But it's kind of just cause and effect, so it's not really a turn as much as a step forward, right? So when he looks at all these poems, then, in the blazon of sweet beauty's best, of hand, of foot, of lip, of eye, of brow, of the best, most beautiful parts of people, I see their antique pen would have expressed. Now, it's not necessarily an old pen that is antique, but it's something that takes place a long time ago, and so it might have been a brand new pen in their day, but to when Shakespeare's writing it, he's saying it's antique because it's looking at the chronicle of time. He's looking at things in his past, even though he's 500 years before us at the time of this video. I see their antique pen would have expressed even such a beauty as you master now. Okay, I see that back then they would have praised your beauty, my beloved. You're so beautiful and you're so lovely that if you were alive, they would have expressed your beauty if you had been there with them. If they were praising the best that beauty had, the best hands, feet, lips, eyes, brows, all of that, you would have made the cut, is what he's saying. All right. So I look at all this writing in history, and they're describing all the most beautiful people, and I realize, these people are probably like my beloved, who's so beautiful. He would have been described as just as beautiful back then, right? And now the volta, so, right? So begins our third quatrain. This sonnet is really obvious how it transitions. When this, then this, so that. Okay, and so here's his next step. So all their praises are but prophecies. They're speaking to something in the future. They're prophecies of this, our time. All you prefiguring. Now this is a weird way to say it. Like today we would say all prefiguring you. But he's got the object before the verb because he does that, and that was a lot more normal in his day. Of this, our time. All prefiguring you, meaning it's speaking of you, and it's like the shape of you before you come, right? Prefiguring, the figure of you is seen in this description of beauty. And for they looked, but with divining eyes, right? If they were to look with divining eyes, using divination, looking into the future, and they really were praising you the whole time, right? If they were prophesying and prefiguring and they could see the future, imagine these people really could see you, my beloved. Then what? They had not skill enough, you're worth to sing. If all these poems and songs about beautiful people are people looking into the future describing you, my beloved, and how beautiful you are, I look at their descriptions and they fall short. They don't have the skill to describe your beauty. It doesn't do you justice. So the poet stops here, right? As he does at the end of every 12th line. And he thinks about it, reflects on it, and then we get the resolution of the poem. For we, which now behold these present days, have eyes to wonder, but lack tongues to praise. And so he's saying, now, today, I can see you. I can behold your beauty really, presently, and I can wonder at how beautiful you are. But I also, like them, I lack the tongues, meaning the language, the words, the descriptive talent, right? The linguistic prowess to praise how beautiful you are. I just can't capture it. And so, even though the chronicle of time is wasted, right, we finally see in line 14, is that what makes this time wasted that we see back in line 1? We can kind of apply these last two lines to understand the beginning, right? We behold these present days and we have eyes to wonder how beautiful you are, but we can't describe it. So when we go back, we see within the chronicle of wasted time, it was wasted maybe because they couldn't see you back then, or maybe because they could, but they wasted their time because they didn't come up to par in describing how beautiful you are. Okay, so we come away from this poem with a real impression of how lovely and how wonderful the poet thinks his beloved is. Because again, This is a love poem. Now, this is Sonnet 106, one of my favorites. I really like it. But I hope exploring it this way has been helpful for you to see it in action and see how to pick apart a sonnet in these ways. Now, this one didn't have a lot of difficult language. This might have been a cop-out on my part to pick an easy sonnet. But I hope this makes sense. I hope it is ultimately helpful. I'll see you again later for some more videos. And until then, I forgot I had this slide in here, though. Turn on the camera. But thanks for watching. Hasta lasagna. How do I stop this?